Hello, digital filmmaking. How's it going? All right, I will probably do each part of the Homage edit in pieces. So this is the setup to kind of launch you into editing. The next video will be talking more about fine tuning that edit. So this is just the setup. I'm gonna go reasonably fast because we've covered this and because it's a recording. So I just want to remind you, it's a recording. You can rewind, you can pause. Okay. All right. So here we go. We are at the editing phase of our Homage. So we have covered how to film it, how to storyboard it, all that stuff. The last thing that, just to kind of remind you, you can download your scene at ytmp3, ytmp3.cc. And make sure you're clicking on MP4, and then you're going to paste the YouTube link here. Then you have to convert, then you have to download. Okay, so once again, you're going to have to click on the MP4 right here rather than the MP3 to get your song, or you can just use your camera and hold it up to a screen while the video is playing. Either way, just to kind of get a recording of it, that's going to really make the edit go by really fast. Okay, so I'm at the point where I have my footage done and I've downloaded my scene. So please make sure you do that before you're doing anything else. If you need any other help downloading your scene, you don't have to use YTMP3. You can use some other downloader that you're more familiar with maybe. Or again, just hold your camera up and record it just right off your screen. That will work just as well. I know we're all kind of in a weird situation with distance learning. Okay, so here's how to do it. Here is my scene, my project, excuse me. Okay, so I have all my footage in one folder. That's going to be a really smart idea. And then I'm just going to grab all my footage and drag it into this project window over the left. Just a simple drag and drop. Now, I know a lot of you have laptops, and I know a lot of you, this is harder to get your whole screen. So in Premiere, you can also go File, Import, or Control-I if you have a PC, Command-I if you have a Mac. And you can navigate to this folder, which is right here, which has all of my footage. I can just either select the whole folder, or I can select the first file, scroll down, hold the Shift key, and select everything. And I hit import. So now I have the scene from the movie and all of my footage. Yours probably looks like this in thumbnail view, which might be easier to navigate. You know, I hop between both. Someone asked which one's better. You go depending on your situation. Okay, I got really technical last time in class about setting up your sequence settings. I will go over it again. But you could just take your footage, remember your footage here, any footage that you have filmed, and plop it in. It's going to build the sequence around that footage. And if it's too zoomed in, make sure you can drop that in this little percentage down to like 75% or 50% so you can see the whole frame window. Now, when you delete that, it's going to keep the settings. If you want to change the settings, okay, and this is where I got very technical. The page and the information and all of those things are also on Canvas under the Homage, aka scene recreation, and I have a JPEG of those right here, right? And it tells you all the 5 things you need to change before hitting OK. The reason why I reduce it down to 720 is because it'll be a smaller file size. It'll be easier for you to upload. The problem is that your footage will be mismatched, which is fine because I'm going to show you a bonus thing that I didn't show in class that I'm going to show right now. Right after we set up the sequence settings. So I'm going to make a new sequence, File, New Sequence, which gives me a blank new sequence, and I'm going to call it Homage Rough Cut. Now this tab here lets me set up the settings right away, but if you forget and you hit OK and you want to go back to find those settings, you're going to go up here to Sequence Settings. It's the same window, just one has a tab for all the other things for the setup, and this one just has just the settings. Okay, the settings you want to do are located right here in Canvas under, you got to scroll down because I have the description, I have everything what to do, I have all the helpful links for planning, and then down here below, I have the picture of how you should set it up. That picture is right here as well, so these are everything we need to change. So I'm going to go up here, the first one is custom, and that always causes problems. You got to scroll up. People don't see custom right away, they expect it to be under C, and it's not. You got to scroll up, right? And then frame size, it's going to be 1280 by 720, right? you remember the number 720, so sometimes you see it on the horizontal one. You want the vertical one to be 720, and you want the horizontal one to be 1280. Then we're going to go to our pixel aspect ratio and change it to square. We're going to change our fields to no fields, and everything else stays the same. You're going to hit OK. All right. So that's how you set up your sequence. Now, the problem with this is my footage is 1080. My scene is 480, right? So we're finding that happy medium. And I'm encouraging this because our files are smaller, so you have a quicker upload and it's just easier to manage, right? But the problem is that when I plop a shot, it's a different setting. So I'm going to want to say keep existing settings, first of all. And then my shot is actually much bigger than what the sequence is showing, right? So it's actually getting cut off. How do I change that? So I was showing you can right click and you can choose scale to frame size. Notice, did you see that shrink? I'm going to do it again. So right now it's actually being cut off. So if I right click and choose scale to frame size, now I'm seeing the whole footage, right? And you can do that for all of them after you put them in. You can do that, but to do it automatically and quickly, you can go to your preferences. And I haven't really shown you this, and this is a bonus, and I will show this in class. But there's a preference window. If you're on PC, you're going to go to File, and it's going to be right down here. There's going to be a Preferences. If you're on a Mac, it's Premiere Pro Preferences. We're going to go down to Media. And it doesn't really matter which one you click on because it gives you the whole window. So here's the whole preference window. And it's the one you want highlighted is Media. Okay? And again, the settings are going to be right here. And these are also posted in Canvas right below. Okay? So it's a nice little feature. You're going to go to Media in the preference window, Default, and you're going to choose Scale to Frame Size. And this way I don't have to right click. I don't have to right click and choose rescaling every time I put in something that's a mismatch. Okay? Once again, if you have a PC, it's under File, Preferences, or if you have a Mac, it's under Premiere Pro Preferences. Okay. Pause if you got to set that up. Look at my stuff on Canvas. All right. So this is just the setup. This is not the edit. So here's what we're going to want to do. You want the final product to have the original movie scene that you've recorded or downloaded either on tracks 1 of video and audio. And then you're also going to want a second track, the second video track of the movie scene on track 3. And then your original footage is going to be down here on the middle track, right? So let's set this up. So here's my Ghostbusters scene. Okay. And now let's see if auto scale fits. So very important to remember these blue boxes on the left-hand side. I know they're very tiny. I have 2 blue boxes. I have V1 to the left of the locks, and I have V1 to the right of the locks. Both are important for different reasons. I wish they were different colors, as I've stated many a time. I want the blue to the left of the locks on. If you're not seeing these boxes, right, you might be in a different tab. So you want to make sure you have some sort of footage selected so that you can see these boxes. So double click on any sort of footage. You should see either an empty black box or a blue box. So make sure they're blue on the left-hand side. Since we're at it, we might as well make V2 and V3 also blue because that's going to come in handy later. Okay, I'll explain what those are in a later day. But for right now, we're going to play with the source plugs or the source patches. All right, now I'm going to double click on my movie. If you're not using the whole scene, like mine's 2 minutes long, maybe I only need to do the first minute, but I'm going to use the whole scene. Maybe I don't want to use Egon walking through. I just want to start with Venkman, right? So I can press I right at the beginning, but and then I can press O whenever I feel like it's going to be ending, right there, right? O, okay. Or I can just use the whole scene if that's what you're doing, if you actually just have the whole scene. So don't forget to trim out. You only need the part that we're actually seeing. All right, so here we go. Take it. I'm going to drag it into overwrite, or I can just drag it down below into my sequence. Either way. But I'm going to use overwrite, and it plops it in wherever my scrubber was. I'm going to slam it to the beginning. I overlooked that part. So there's my entire movie scene, and it didn't auto-scale it. Nuts. So I'm going to right-click and choose Scale to Frame Size. I wonder why I didn't do that. Notice there's still letter boxes here. right? There's still a letterbox. It's still not really filling up my window. Can you see that? It's still got some. So I can actually double click on this, go to Effect Controls, and increase the scale so that it's as big as it can be, covering the width of my 720. So this is actually more than 16 by 9, which is totally fine. All right. That's step 1. Your original movie's on track 1 for video and audio. Step 2. We're going to want to take this video clip, and we're also going to want the same video on track 3. Okay? A couple ways you can do that. Number 1, you could hold your Alt or Option key. If you're a PC, it's Alt. If you're Mac, it's Option. It's right by the controller command key on your keyboard, right between the two. If you hold that down, let me move this up so you can see a little bit better. If I hold this down and then pull my video layer up, it actually makes a copy of it right on top. That's the easiest way to do it, by holding down the Alt Option key and dragging it up. I could also select the video, select the clip, hit Command C, move my scrubber all the way over here, hit Command V, but then I still have the audio, so I'd right click, I would choose Unlink, I would delete the audio, and I would move it on top so that they're both synced up to the same. I could also move my plug designator up, unplug my audio designator, go back to my scene, and plop it in on top. Overwrite. Oops, it was all the way over here. My bad. Okay. So however you need it, what you need is 2 video clips. All right, I like the Alt method, Alt Option. Right, you need 2 video clips, one right on top of the other. And then this top layer is going to become a picture-in-picture. The top layer is going to become a picture-in-picture. So I want to shrink it down and move it to the lower left or lower right corner. I think I'm going to go lower left. So I'm going to go to Effect Controls on this top layer, double-click the top clip, go to Effect Controls, and I want to scale it down. Oops, scale it down. And I want to move it to the left with position and move it down. So I'm clicking on position and scale. I'm just clicking on the numbers, and I can also type them, but I think 42 is going to be the nice number. 42 is a good number. Oh! Yeah, it's nice and small, maybe a little bit lower. So the second number is always the Y coordinate, and the first number is always the X coordinate. Okay. Now, there's this big fat letterbox, that black bar on the top and the bottom. So the only way to get rid of that is to crop it out. So to crop those out, we're going to go to Effects, and we're going to go down here to Video Effects, and we're going to choose CROP. Video Effects lives under Transform, but if you can't remember that, just remember Crop, and you can always search for it. So Crop's right there. I'm going to drag it right on top of my file, and then I got to trim down the top. So again, I'm going to left click on the numbers, and now I have a box there, and then I'm going to have on the bottom, right there. All right, so I think I got 21. I'm going to do 21 on the bottom to keep it. So you can always type them in too. All right. So now I have a picture-in-picture. I like the base level to be big because that way I can see all the details, and then the bottom level to be nice and small. That way when I have my original movie, you can still compare it. Okay. Last thing before we start editing the footage, we want to kind of open this up a little bit so we can see it a little bit better. So first thing is we need to get our timeline to fill up the whole space. We can do that by grabbing this little circle, or above the return key, underneath the delete key, there's a slash. If you hit that, that's a hotkey that moves your entire timeline, that stretches your timeline to kind of fit that window. Okay, that's a very handy key to know. And then I also want to make these a little bit taller. So I'm going to just grab my audio files. I can either just grab track 1 and pull it, or I can, what did I do? I need to crop. I need to change my crop. I undid it, and it didn't undo my move. There we go, 21, just to redo that. All right, or I can grab these side windows here, the side bar, and I can make that a little bit taller so I can see the waveforms. I can probably crank up the volume if I wanted to, just a little. And then I can also pull this sidebar and I get both videos much taller. Right, so I can make it look like that. All right, last step, and then we're ready to go. I got my picture-in-picture on top, looking good. I got my picture below just for good reference so I can see what's going on and make precise decisions. And my audio's nice and set up. To be safe, lock it. So you're going to lock A1. You're going to lock V1, these little locks here, and then you get these little slanty lines, which means you can't mess with it. And I'm going to lock V3. So just in case I'm not paying attention, I'll make sure that those are done. And then lastly, I want to make sure that my video source patch, that's the blue box to the left of the locks, is blue and it's on track 2. So I want to make sure my blue box is on V1. Excuse me, my V1 blue box is on V2. And then it's also going to help, it's going to really help you out if you have at least V2 blue on both sides. Okay? Now you're ready to go. A1 should not be blue, but it's going to be okay also because this is locked. But just to be safe, just to have good practice, unplug A1. So now I have this all right here. So now I can kind of color by numbers. I don't have that Egon shot. I didn't make Egon, but there's Ray, the first character in this movie. I hope you have watched Ghostbusters. And notice I'm using my left and right arrow to get to the right to the perfect frame right there. Okay? And Ray is is toothless. And so I need to find Toothless walking down the hallway, and the hallway is just my bedroom. And I believe it's this one. Is that him walking? I think that's him walking. It might be, excuse me while I'm trying to find this one. Nope, that's the ghost. That must be it. That's him walking. All right. So now what I do is in my sequence, I press I on my sequence. Oops. Left over. I. So my endpoint is right where I see this character walking from behind. And then, oh, excuse me, that's Venkman, not Ray. So I got to find the purple dragon. Oop, there's Ray. Right there. And I press O. So I'm sorry, the purple dragon. It's so hard to keep track. There it is. There, I thought that shot was a little off. Oops, nope, that's not it either. This one, this little pan. There you go. So this is him walking down the hallway. It wasn't the best shot. I could have done better. Where's this one? Nope, that's the ghost, and then that's the ghost. All right, it's this guy. All right. I have an in and out point in my sequence, so all I need for this shot is the out point. So I kind of want it to kind of end right there. Oh, I didn't have him waddle or do anything, so I'm going to drag him in and choose overwrite. Now, this clip is rather short. So the clip of Venkman walking is 5 seconds. The clip of the dragon here is 2. So I get these options. So I can either ignore one of my points or I can change the clip speed, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to fit to fill. Change clip speed and hit OK. All right. Now I got Raymond here. Apologies for showing someone smoking. I know that's not 2020 of us. And now let's see. I'm going to play through him. He has a close-up, and then he realizes he sees the monster. Or Slimer, excuse me. And reaction. Nope, cut. So right before it cuts, just going to go back. There it is. Oh. Right, so that's his reaction shot. So now I'm going to get this close-up there, this one. So I want to make sure that the camera kind of tilts to kind of create the reaction shot, so I want to make sure that's there. So I hit O. I don't have to hit I. So in this one, it's going to automatically cut. I hit overwrite, and that's my shot of Ray. Okay. Then I have my over the shoulder, so I'm going to look for that, and that over the shoulder is right. Is this it? No. You should. There it is. Yep. And so this is him. This is Slimer. There's a frog. And so I'm going to press I. And I don't even think I need O. Nope. And then this is the over-the-shoulder shot. So I press I. before it goes back to this close-up. Oh, drag that in, overwrite. Okay, so just to kind of show you these 3 shots, it's basically coloring by numbers once you set up those top 2 tracks. 1, perfect. 2, oh, my auto scale didn't seem to work. So I'll show you how to, that's an easy fix with a right click. We'll just look at this one more time. So if your auto scale didn't work, I'm going to right click and I'm going to choose scale to frame size. Oh, much better. That's how it should be. And now there you go. So it's really try to match all your frames. Try to get that timing just right. We'll talk more about fine-tuning this later. But for right now, you have your original movie on track 1, and it's locked. You have a copy of the video of the movie on track 3. It's shrunk down using scale and making it picture-in-picture on the left or the right. And then that you lock the top track, track 3. And then you make your source patch go to video 1. And you make sure audio is unplugged. And you have V2 as well, right? If the track is locked, it's not going to feed the audio in anyway. But it's a good idea to have that practice. I think mine was actually on accidentally, but it still didn't need to be. So you're going to just keep making the scene until you're ready to go. All right. I hope that all makes sense. If you have any issues, please email me. And I will see you next week.